But yeah, so I'm here with a friend who I've met recently, very interested to hear his story, Zakher. Dude, could you just introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, hey, my name is Zakher Bergawi, and I'm a wildlife ecologist, now based in Tunisia, and a Fulbrighter. So.
Fulbright, could you tell me a little bit about Fulbright? What does that mean?
Yeah, so in 2021, I got the opportunity to conduct a second master in wildlife ecology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison as a Fulbright student, and I had the chance to work on using soundscapes and bioacoustic to study ecosystem health and birds, identifying birds using machine learning, and understand sounds using acoustic indices and stuff like that in the Sierra Nevada in California.
Well, I'm interested. You said birds and sound. Maybe the audio would be able to catch up some of the birds that you're hearing around here in this area. Growing up in the U.S., conservation was simply a part of life. It was taught in school, it was promoted on the TV, experienced in field trips and family vacations. In fact, one of my very first jobs was as a clerk at a local department store, and one of my duties there was to issue hunting licenses to the sportsmen who would make their way to my home in central Midwest. Basically, conservation is an industry, and for good or bad, it's very much a part of the social conversation in the U.S. But the same isn't the case for Tunisia. And please don't get me wrong, Tunisians in general very much love nature and enjoy the outings to the coasts and to the mountains. But the conversation about society's role in conservation is largely silent. That's why I was so excited to meet Zakher and hear how he is playing an active role in calling Tunisian public to engage in that conversation, while doing what he can to influence Tunisians' attitudes and policies towards the protection of its natural resources. MultiplyTunisia's goal is to capture the entrepreneurial spirit of Tunisia by highlighting the influencers in its startup, social innovation, and artistic communities. We're also interested in tracking the growing impact of English on these sectors and the effects that this will have on Tunisia culture. A quick question from you. You were born and raised in Tunisia.
Yes.
And then you went to Madison, Wisconsin. Quite a difference in in weather, in climate.
It was my first time to see like snow in my life in Madison. First week I was very excited, and then like, are we done with this yet?
You finished.
Yeah, so it was an interesting change because originally even in Tunisia I was from the south, which is very desert-like kind of environment, and then went to Wisconsin, which is very different. But then I spent a few months in Anza Borrego State Park in San Diego, and it was felt like home, I would say.
So when you spent time at that state park, that was a part of an internship? That was part of your master's program?
Technically, it's called the post-academic training, but I was working there, and I was trying to understand how state parks in the US operate and how parks management is done, and like try to learn some new expertise that is not necessarily available in Tunisia.
So that kind of leads me to my question here. It feels like you had pretty good opportunity there. You had a good opportunity to see the states, to see how the state implements their conservation and stuff. Why are you back in Tunisia?
Well, because the idea of being like a part of a Fulbright program, right, is to try to learn new experience and like bring it back to your home country, right? And I feel like I was very attached to that idea in a way. When I worked in conservation in Tunisia, I felt attached to the land, right? When I do small things like looking for insects or coleopteras or beetles or stuff like that, for me it felt like helping my country in a way. And then when I went to the US, learned new techniques, new scientific methods and new knowledge, and when I applied it in the US, it kind of, that meaning that I'm helping my country wasn't there, right? And I believe that in the US there are a lot of people who are doing amazing impact, right? And it's great. But for me, the kind of impact that I wanted to do is kind of related to the land that I was born in. And that kind of expertise in conservation and wildlife management is not very strong in here. And I felt like it's something that I want to contribute back to the scene and like try to enhance work on that, and that's why I came back.
So from your perspective, do you feel like there is hope for it? If there's not much going on, and not in a negative sense, if there's not much going on now, is there hope for Tunisians to understand diversity, to understand the impact of conservation? Is there hope for it?
I would say yes, but things are changing slowly. Like if you compare like few years before to now, I feel like more NGOs are working in conservation. Small NGO actually like in small regions and like different regions in the south and north are considering more like the biodiversity question, right? Which is really good. On the strategic level, we still lack a lot of work that we need to do there, and like have the full understanding a lot of conservation, and like even at the structure level in national parks, and how it should be managed, and what kind of relationship parks should have with the Tunisian citizen and stuff, and like how Tunisian citizens would see national parks and their biological heritage, right? So I feel like we still have some room to improve, but there is hope.
There is hope. You mentioned what we would call a lot of stakeholders in your last statement there. You mentioned a lot of aspects. You have government, you have NGOs, non-governments, you have society itself, Tunisians themselves, communities. Where do you feel personally for you, what is your strategy? Where do you feel like the investment for you personally needs to be as you look at conservation?
Like the impact that I can do?
Yeah, you personally.
Yeah, I'm more of the side of scientific research and NGO. I feel like I can contribute on both these sides. Since I've been the co-founder of Tunisian Association for Wildlife, that's something that we've been doing since 2018. We're doing NGO work with the conservation and research spirit in a way. And I feel like even now with some of the initiatives that I started where I try to empower younger researchers in the field, like the lizard camp that I mentioned earlier, or trying to do this kind of workshops and like sharing knowledge about certain techniques and methods is contributing to scientific or like paper writing. Also in NGO trying to bring projects with an understanding how this project should be implemented, what kind of indicators that we should use that reflect the impact of the activities that we do on the environment, local community, economy. So I feel like I'm contributing toward that end, but like in the future maybe I'm hoping that I will have the opportunity to contribute even at the strategic level of things.
Can you talk to me about your association that you have?
So the Tunisian Association for Wildlife was founded in 2018. The idea was initially that conducting ecological fieldwork in Tunisia, ecology fieldwork in Tunisia, conservation fieldwork in Tunisia as a student was very hard. People wouldn't understand what you're doing, certain areas are not very secure. As a woman, for example, it's very hard to go certain places. As a student, you can't afford to rent a car and buy, fuel and go to work somewhere in Buhedma National Park, for example. So, and also we felt like there is a lot of biodiversity that is unknown. It's not enough studies. The few studies that has been done in Tunisia lean more on the taxonomic studies, like we name species and that's it. We don't know much about their life, their ecology, biology, and it happened during the colonial time earlier. But then all succeeding work should require more like effort and funding and stuff. So that's why we started as a group of students initially this NGO to have the strength or like the legal framework to go out to conduct fieldwork somewhere. And we have like these legal papers that we can show to the authorities, and then like if there is a woman with us, or like someone who would be not very comfortable going outside alone, feel comfortable being in a group, right? So it started like that. Then we started like collaborating on small projects since we are a new NGO, and then it grew up to have like over 50 young experts in the field and other fields as well, because we keep in mind that we want to use this multidisciplinary approach to solving ecological issues in Tunisia, and we have people in computer science, anthropology, even like language, So different like backgrounds, and now we are collaborating with authorities and multiple conservation projects in Tunisia. Yeah, so this is mainly it.
So as you look at impact and the impact you're trying to make on Tunisian society, what role do you feel right now with your work that English is playing with the work that you're doing now?
I mean, I use English in a way as a tool to network, especially like to bring, you know, what's happening in Tunisia, to make collaboration with the outside world, bring opportunities, funding. But English, as for example raising awareness in Tunisia, is not the best way to do it. I think like we should use Arabic to reach out to people who are like in local communities or people in certain region who prefer Arabic or understand more Arabic. But English for me is useful to connect with researchers, maybe from, I don't know, the University of Wisconsin, or a funder from, I don't know, United Nations or something like that, or write effectively a project proposal, a grant proposal, communicate with other people interested in stories from Tunisia in English. That's how I use English to, you know.
So basically you're using English to leverage what you have,
Yes.
to bring the resources for Tunisia, just to bring benefit for Tunisia,
Yep.
correct?
That's how I see it, and it has been working, I would say, for the few times I tried that.
Well, thank you, Zakher, for your time, and we're looking forward to hear more information and success stories coming out for this project, and to see the future that conservation has here in Tunisia.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to have this conversation with you.
Multiply Tunisia is brought to you by 11 Talents. At 11 Talents, we consult, design, and multiply. Find out more by following us on our Facebook page, our Instagram feed, or by visiting our website at 11talents.com. At 11 Talents, we start with you. Multiply Tunisia.